32. The possession of matter by spirits. 16th February, 1847. Of course, it is difficult to imagine that in a raindrop, in a snowflake, in a hailstone, or even in a little cloud, one or more spirits should be gagged and pressed together in a certain way, and in such a volume they should get a weight by which they can easily fall down or be thrown down. But a closer description will make the matter quite clear to you, and will show you how the matter is possible. You should not think that the spirit with its soul is crumpled like a sheet of paper until it finally looks like a somewhat clumsy ball. That is by no means the case. The human form of the spirit remains intact. Only the soul, and also not its form, but its essence, are compressed in the region of the heart, and then come into appearance in this compression, depending on whether it is more or less violent, under the above-mentioned meteoric formations. So you don't have to imagine that in a hailstorm, some whole spirit with its soul falls down crooked, but only its material desires. These are finally pushed together by the peace spirits of peace, because of their material sensuality, and become material and heavy. But since these are a living member of the spirit and its soul, then the spirit with its soul itself is pulled with this, its newly formed material emphasis, where this must take its necessary direction because of its material quality. In order to present the matter still more clearly to you, we want to present a picture which you can easily understand. Think of a human form which would be assembled from the so-called gold beater's sheets, as it were, to an air balloon which could be filled with hydrogen gas, just like another ball. And if it were filled, it would have a human form, and would surely ascend immediately into the higher regions of the air. If, however, this balloon man, filled with hydrogen gas, would suddenly get a compression of the hydrogen gas, then a possible water bulge would naturally become heavy and, due to its weight, would naturally fall down to earth. But since it is not outside, but inside our balloon man, who has lost the necessary expansion due to this inner compression of the hydrogen gas, then this balloon man, with his heavy water bulge, will also be pulled down to earth again. The form of this balloon man has lost nothing, except that it has shrunk here and there and has become leaner in a certain way, but could no longer maintain itself in the high air region because of its newly formed center of gravity. But when on the earth below, that is, on the material ground, the compressed water bulge dissolves again into the previous gas by a new heat, then the balloon man will rise again. Behold, this is, although quite material, but nevertheless correspondingly representing the spiritual, a quite well-fitting picture, from which you can see how the spiritual man whose soul is a spiritual balloon-like outer form condenses in his inner being, thereby becomes heavy, and takes his direction from his height to real matter, where, however, this material condensation of his sensual desires is soon dissolved again by the fire of his love awakened in humility, and he then, more humbled, ascends again, generally to where his being's appropriate place is. Very evil-minded people are often condensed to stones and fall down as such, where the dissolution takes much longer than if this condensation enters the material existence only under the appearance of meteors mentioned above. Some, however, are kept for long, even under the above appearance, which are brought to fall over high mountains, and especially over the polar regions of the earth. Only these must be already very particularly evil-minded spirits, in whom much arrogance prevails, which naturally already carries the infernal in itself. What happens to the spirits after such lessons will be shown more clearly by the follow-up. But for now, it is enough that you get as clear an idea as possible of how and why, behind the natural phenomena that are visible to the fleshly eye, there is always something spiritual. So we will soon make several considerations about this, how and why.